Hello, hello. Okay, today microphone is down, so I had to use the computer microphone. So it's a bit difficult to listen. So first, just an overview. What are the topics again? What are the topics again? Yes, so Japanese occupation. Merger and separation, and finally okay, out of these three, two will come out for source base and one will come out for essay. Okay, two will come out for source base, one will come out for essay. Okay. Okay, give me a second. Okay, let's do merger and separation again. Very quickly, how to memorize. You just need to know that merger there's only two main things, right? One is the economic and the other is the security. Okay, why do we need economic? Because we need the common market so that our goods will not be taxed. Right, that's why you need the common market so that the goods will not be taxed. Why do we need it? Because we have no natural resources. So we need this. We need this so that our Singapore business can thrive. Okay, that's it for economic reason. Because we have a common market, we have a bigger market. Malaysia will have a bigger market. Okay, so that's it for economic reason. How about security reasons? Basically, we are facing the communist threat. Yes, we need to deal with the communist threat. So we need Malaysia's help. Because Malaysia is a much bigger country and has more resources to help deal with this threat. Yes, Malaysia has a bigger market that we can sell our goods in. So for security is communist threat, then we need Malaysia's help to deal with the communist threat, because we can pool resources together. We can pool resources, and by doing this, what's the outcome? The outcome is we can gain British trust. Right, we can gain the trust of the British, because the British are concerned about communist threat. So once we can gain the British trust, that's when the British will give us the independence as Federation of Malaysia. Understand? So these are the two main reasons why we want to merge with Malaysia. So far, understand? Understand so far? Yes, I don't have any practice papers with me now, so I'll just use this whiteboard and I'll just talk what I know and what I think you should know, and you do the paper tomorrow. So for separation, okay? Yes, I'll go through the format after this. So first, now separation. There's 4 things, right? First thing, everything is about disagreement. Okay, so this is the main point. So this is the P. Disagreement over racial privileges. Yes, how do you explain this disagreement? Tell me both sides. So Singapore, right? All races, equal rights. Because why? Because Singapore is a plural society or multiracial society. Hence, you should have equal rights so that all can succeed together. Equal chance to succeed, including the Malays. Okay, how this is done? This is done with free education. Okay. Then Malaysia. What is Malaysia's point of view? The Malays should have special privileges. Why? Why? Because they are the indigenous people. Okay, they are the original people of the land. So How? So when you do your essay, ask yourself these questions. The what, why, how. What? Malaysia should have special privileges. Why? Because they are the indigenous people. How? Okay, in education, and also in employment. Specifically what employment? Government employment. Okay, so that's the how. So same thing when you do your elaboration, you talk about the what, why, and the how. Indigenous just means original. They are the original people of the land. So that's your E. So next, your E now is the explanation. Explanation is you must link this to separation. Okay, so what happened? This disagreement led to tensions. Yes, what kind of tensions? Political tensions between the leaders, and also ethnic tensions between the races. Yes, there was a lot of rumors. In the newspapers about treatment of Malays. And hence this led to racial riots and a tense situation. So both leaders agreed the best way is to separate. Yes, so that's how you explain. Please remember the tensions, political tensions, ethnic tensions, racial riots. These are the key words. These are the key things that you must write. And hence they both agreed to separate. Okay, so that's the essay format. Point, elaboration, explanation, and then link, which is finally here, the linking part. Okay, link is very important. Very important. Hence both leaders agreed that the best way is to separate. Don't leave your essay hanging out. You must have the link. Okay, which is very crucial. Okay, so this is for racial. Next one, I'll go faster a bit. Next point, disagreement over the common market. Point number one, very important, initial agreement is to have common market where goods will not be taxed. Point number two, Malaysia feared competition from the more popular Singapore goods. This will negatively affect Malaysia business. And last thing, Malaysia wants to help by delaying the common market, okay, so that Singapore will continue to pay tax. Okay, that's it. 3 main points for this common market thing. Again, 3 main points for this common market thing. This for your E. E got 3 1, 2, 3. Number 2, Malaysia feared competition from more popular Singapore goods, and this will negatively affect Malaysian businesses. Number 3, Malaysia wants to help Malaysian businesses by delaying the common market, and hence Singapore need to continue to pay tax. Yes, so when you explain the same thing. This led to political tensions between the leaders. Yes, political tensions between the leaders because they cannot agree. Right? Singapore leaders felt betrayed. Why betrayed? Because initial agreement not carried out. Okay, Singapore business suffered, and there was a lot of unhappiness. So Malaysia did not want to have the common market, so this disagreement led to separation. Okay, very simple. 3 points again. So repeat disagreement over common market, because initial agreement was that common market was to be held so that goods will not be taxed, but Malaysia feared competition, keyword competition, from more popular Singapore goods which will affect Malaysian business. Hence, as Malaysia wants to help the businesses, they delayed the common market, so Singapore need to continue to pay tax, and hence this led to political tensions between each leader because Singapore felt betrayed that the initial agreement was not carried out. Singapore business suffered and people were unhappy, and hence the leaders felt that this separation was the key thing. Again, this link is very important. This link here, very important. Please ensure you have this link here. Okay, so that's for common market. Done. Okay, the SBQ later. Let me finish this first. Okay, maybe I do one more. Okay, and that is the disagreement over taxation. Okay, elaboration, very simple. Both sides. First, Singapore wanted to collect its own revenue and then pay tax to central government in KL. Understand? How about Malaysia side? Malaysia want to delay because they are scared of the competition. They are scared of competition because if you don't tax, that means the Singapore goods can be cheaper to be sold in Malaysia, and hence people will buy Malaysian goods as Singapore goods instead of Malaysia goods. So Malaysia have no choice but to delay the car market. Okay, so this agreement over taxation, Singapore want to collect own revenue, pay tax to central government. Malaysia want to collect SG revenue and then give SG what it needs to run the country. This is basically it. Okay, so they both disagreed on how this can be done. So what was the compromise? The compromise was SG collect own revenue, but tax increase 40 to 60%. That means Singapore wants to collect the income from its citizens. Any money that it makes belongs to Singapore. Okay, after that I'll pay, because I belong to the Malaysia Federation, hence I'll pay the central government taxes in return. Malaysia say no, any revenue that you make will belong to me, and then I will give you what you need to run your country. So both disagreed, and hence the compromise was, okay, Singapore, I allow you to collect your own revenue, but the tax have to increase from 40% to 60%. Revenue is income, the country's income. How does the country earn money? The country earns money when goods are being sold. When companies prosper, then they need to pay tax, right? So a company's income is from the taxation based on the goods that the company sell. Okay? So hence the compromise is this. So how do you explain? How come this led to separation? Because again, tensions right between the leaders, right? There's a lot of disappointment, yes, over the failed agreement. Okay, and hence they realize they cannot work together, and people are unhappy. Especially Singaporeans unhappy. Why we need to pay so much tax? Unsatisfied. And so the best solution was to lead to separation. Why not we just go our own ways and we separate, and this will solve all the problems. Okay, so that's the explanation. This is very important. Again, you must end your essay by saying, thus these tensions eventually led to separation between the two countries. Okay? Now the last point, you can just read the essay that I gave you. I want to move on to the SBQ. So the last point, you just read the essay that I gave to you. Okay? As long as you link everything back to tensions, riots, ethnic tensions, unhappiness, unsatisfaction. People are affected negatively. People suffered. Initial agreement not carried out. And hence they realized that the best way to move forward is to separate. Yes, I gave in the group chat. Okay, so that's for the essay. Yes, that's for the essay. Now, the SPQ. Let's say the SPQ come out JO. For JO, what's the critical thing? What's the critical issue for JO? There's only one critical issue for Japanese occupation. Okay, yes, there's only one. And that one issue is this: the treatment of the Japanese towards locals. Okay, no, we don't use formula to write things. Yes, correct, there's no formula in history. You have to use your brain. You have to be critical in your thinking. Yes, there's only one formula. That's the pill. Other than that, there's no more formula. So this is the main issue. Okay? So on the yes side, yes, treatment was harsh, treatment was cruel, treatment was no lack of freedom. Okay, in terms of yes, the harshness, the cruelty, the lack of freedom. What's the evidence of this? What's the evidence of this? Harsh, cruel, freedom. First, we have the Sukching, right? Because the Chinese were massacred on the street. People died. People were interrogated, shot on the street, on the beaches, everywhere. The Sukching. Okay, and then you have the prisoners of wars, mostly the Europeans, Eurasians. Okay, these people, okay, bad living conditions. It was very horrible living conditions. They suffered a lot. They were starving. They were extremely living in poverty. So it's the prisoners of war. Okay, bad living conditions, bad working conditions. Yes, so sources which deals with this or these things, right? People, evidences of people who lived through the period as prisoners of war, or people who survived the Sokchin, or historians who research about the Sokchin and realize these are the things that happen, or any pictures that come out with all these things will tell you the same thing, that the Japanese treated people very harshly, cruelly. There was living conditions was bad, was horrible, working conditions was bad. So pick out which one is it. Okay, so that is for the first aspect, which is the yes. Okay, but there can also be a no. The Japanese were kind. The Japanese treated people well. The Japanese were forgiving. The Japanese were great. What's the evidence of this? The main evidence for this side of the picture will be propaganda. Propaganda from who? From the Japanese. Yes, the main side of this will be Japanese propaganda, which will tell you that Japanese treated people extremely well, comfortable, great, and they are very forgiving. Yes, so this is the part for the other side of the story. Now, where will your purpose question come from? Most likely it will come from here, right? This part. And so they will ask you, what's the purpose? Right, reliability will come from here as well. Again, so the inference question will just simply be about this issue. Okay, the purpose question will be something about propaganda. Reliability will be propaganda as well. So you must pick out the things. Can? So inference format, very simple. Inference is just PEEL. Okay, give me the inference, give me the evidence, give me the explanation, and then link. That's all. Okay, for purpose, remember, give me the context first. This was happening. He said this. Because in whatever date, then this was happening. What was happening? What is the audience feeling? Tell me, what are they feeling? Yes, and in your second line, when you write the real purpose, hence this was made. Please, you must write this word because, again, very important, please. You must write the because twice. Okay, this was made because, let's say example, the Japanese. This word is also very important. It must be a strong action verb. Convince, persuade, encourage, criticize. Then you must tell me who. Okay, specific audience. This made because the Japanese wants to convince the locals. So this message here, is not an outcome. Okay, please, it's not an outcome. The message shouldn't be that the locals will support the Japanese. Okay, no, this is an outcome. Your message should not be what the audience will do. It is why they will do it. This is the why. Why? Yes, why should they support the Japanese? So based on the picture, give me an inference. This is an inference, right? Tell me the inference. Why should they support the Japanese? And that is the thing that you must know. Yes. And this inference must relate to the source. Okay, you must pick out the source. What aspect of society is this talking about? Is it talking about education? Is it talking about employment? Is it talking about freedom? Is it talking about the greatness of Japanese rule? So we must pick out what exactly is it talking about and what is the inference. Good, great? Is it great? Is it good? Is it powerful? Is it helpful? Whatever thing. So make sure that your message is exactly the inference and relates to the source. So after this, then you write your evidence, right? The source says. What does the source says? This means, and finally when you're done, you say, then you say the outcome. So by publishing this, yes, the author hopes that the audience will, what will they do? Yes, and most likely it will be support. Okay, so make sure you do it this way. Understand? So that is for purpose. Yes, because convince locals that Japanese will treat message, evidence, explanation, outcome. Yes, so purpose, format, context first. Context first. Then purpose statement, which includes the action verb, includes the audience, and includes the message, then the evidence, then the explanation, then the outcome. Okay? Context, purpose, and here is your because, audience, action, verb, message, evidence, explanation, outcome. Okay, now reliability. You know, reliability will link to this issue as well. Okay, reliability will also link to this issue. But the key thing is you must tell me what about the source is it talking about first. What are you checking for reliability? What is the inference that you are checking? Because reliability is first, you need to tell me what is the inference that you are checking. Yes, what is the inference that you are checking reliability for? So the first paragraph must be the basic inference. Inference plus the ATQ, yes? So you say the source is unreliable. Yes, answer the question. Or if they say trust, you must say trust. Trust, and then after that say reliable or not. Okay? It's unreliable. Then unreliable in what? In telling me what? In telling me that. Give me the inference. Okay, make sure it's done like this. Then do the same thing. Evidence plus explanation. Then close the paragraph. Okay, I don't want to see anything lumped together. Give me the inference paragraph first. Unreliable in telling me that the Japanese treated people harshly. Okay, then give me evidence explanation. Do the whole thing well before you move on to the next paragraph. Okay. do everything first before you move on to the next paragraph. Understand? So the next paragraph is very simple. Just state the provenance. Yes. Again, repeat the inference. Source is unreliable in telling me that, yes, repeat. Okay, ATQ is just say it is reliable, it is not reliable. Inference is not reliable in what? In telling me that the Japanese treated people harshly. Okay, so for number 2, the source is unreliable in telling me that. So repeat your inference again. Whatever that you wrote, this should be the same as what you wrote here. Okay, repeat it again. Okay, then you say the reason why, as it is biased, one-sided, and has an agenda. Okay, simple. Agenda, keyword, agenda, bias, one-sided, and agenda. Okay, then you need to tell me the provenance. This is as it is. Give me the whole provenance. Okay, tell me the provenance. Who, what, when, where, how. This is produced. This is source, and such. As such, I would expect it. Expectation. Expect it to. Guess what? Is it positive or is it negative? Opinion about the subject. Yes, tell me, positive, negative opinion. What is your expectation? Is it positive, negative opinion about the subject? Because, and then he wants to, this is what is the objective. Why would he have the positive or negative? Why would he have the positive or negative opinion about the subject? Okay, because he wants to achieve this objective. Okay, example, this is produced by the Japanese. As such, I would expect it to support the Japanese because he wants the locals to respect and recognize Japanese rule is important in Singapore. Example. Okay. Provenance is just the line above the source. The line above the source, which tells me who said the thing, what it was, where is it from, and when is it said. So just repeat. This is as it is made by the Japanese soldier during 1945. Okay, in the Japanese newspaper. So it's just the who, what, when, where, and how the source is produced. As such, I'll expect it to be positive or negative opinion about the subject because he wants to achieve something. What does he want to achieve? Okay, so the provenance is the line above the source, right? This is the source, right? The provenance is here. This line here is the provenance. Okay. And finally, the last paragraph, you just write the agenda. Because, again, the same thing. So, follow the agenda is just the purpose, so follow the purpose format. Okay, which is convince blah 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 blah, convince action verb everything. The sales agenda is made because he wants to whatever, then the outcome. Okay, the outcome which is the same as this thing here, repeat it again. Okay, by convincing you of the purpose, which is the message, which should be something, the why, it shouldn't be the outcome, because he wants to tell the Japanese rule is great, hence the outcome is that people will support Japanese rule. So message, example, Jap rule is great, it's beneficial. Yes, so outcome is that people will support and recognize Jap rule. So it's always the same thing. Okay? And finally, after this, then you end your paragraph with hence, because of the agenda, the source is unreliable in telling me that. Or if they say trust, then you say hence, because the source cannot be trusted, hence it is unreliable in telling me that. So answer the question, okay? ETQ. If they say trust, you must say trust and reliable. Yes? Can you believe? Say believe, then say reliable or not. Okay, so that's for reliability. 3 paragraphs. Please leave a line after each paragraph because the marker does not want to mark crazy things. Leave a line after each paragraph. Understand? Understand? Okay, now last one. Okay, how about this? Comparison. Okay, remember, one similarity and one difference. So, for similarity, make sure you have the CSI. Example, both sources are similar in telling me that the Japanese, can you see this is the subject? Okay, both sources are similar in telling me that the Japanese treatment of the locals, this is the criteria. Okay, what about the Japanese are you comparing? You're comparing the Japanese treatment of the locals. Then finally your was harsh. This is your inference.
Mommy, is which one? Same like this.
Okay, done. So that is for similarity. After this, you just give me the evidence of A, quote it, and then explain. Means then you must write similarly, very important. This word is very important. Similarly, evidence of B, then explain. Okay, so that's for similarity paragraph. Then the difference paragraph, you just need the C and the S in the first line. Okay, which means both sources are different with regards to the, let's say, optimism. Yes, so why is this? Optimism is here. Optimism of the locals. This becomes the criteria. This is the subject. But there's no inference. Can you see? There's no inference. Because the next line should be your inference statement. Yes, so source A tells me locals are very pessimistic about the future. Yes, so now you're telling me the inference is pessimistic, okay, about the future, and the subject is here. So make sure your inference statement has the same criteria. Criteria and subject must be the same, but of inference is different. So here there's pessimism. Okay, then the A says evidence blah 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 blah, means then you must put however. B tells me the locals same subject, the locals are optimistic. So here's your inference, right? On the future. Yes, then evidence plus explain. Okay? So do not write the evidence immediately. I need the inference statement first. The inference statement based on criteria and subject, which means source A tells me the locals are pessimistic. This line should come first before you write the evidence. Okay? Then you write, however, B tells me the locals are optimistic on the future. So can you see there's a match? The inference statements are matching each other, and they are both matching the main criteria statement that you gave. Okay, so that is for similarity and difference. So there will be an issue. Okay, let's say the issue is the treatment of the Japanese. Okay, if let's say the source show that the treatment is different, that means that they are different on the issue. Yes, one say the Japanese treat people harshly, the other one say the Japanese treat people kindly. So in this case, what will the similarity be? The similarity will be on the context. That means the characters. Look at the characters and how they are feeling. Look at the locals, look at the government, look at the British, look at the situation. Yes, the similarity will come from here. Although the Japanese can treat people differently, but the locals can both be optimistic, or the government can both, or the Japanese can be very determined to succeed, right? Or they can put the British looking very demoralized, or they can say that the locals are facing poverty and starvation. Although one is harsh, one is kind. Yes, so similarity will be something related to the context. Look for these subjects, the situation, the locals, the government, or the British, or any other characters involved in the sources, and check whether they are similar in telling me that their situation that they face is same or different. So that will be your similarity. Okay, next scenario, if they are similar on the issue, that means that they both say that the Japanese are harsh. Okay, then that is your similarity. Then what will be your difference? The difference will most likely be the cause. Yes, the cause or the reason or how, right? Because they can be, both say they are harsh, but they can be different in terms of how are they harsh? What is the cause of them being harsh? What's the reason? How are they harsh? Are they harsh in terms of starving people? Yes, is it harsh in terms of starving people? Is it harsh in terms of torturing people? Or whatever thing. And so be careful and look carefully at the source. Is it this kind of difference, or is it this kind of similarity? Okay, finally, now challenges and solution. This is what you need to know for challenges and solution. You need to know the main things. Okay, if this comes out in SBQ, you need to know what is the meaning of yes, you need to look at the source. Look at the source and tell me this source, what challenge does this speak of? Okay, that is what you need to know if this comes out for SBQ. If this comes out for essay, then you must write the essay properly. Okay, but let's say this comes out for SBQ. Tell me the source. What is it speaking about? What challenge, what solution is it speaking about? Is it speaking about economic security or sense of belonging? Next thing you need to know is, how was life like because of these challenges, right? So because of these challenges, what did people feel, right? In terms of security challenges, how did people react, right? They were more suspicious of one another. There's more fear, right? There's more uncertainty, so things like this. Or if you talk about economic, same thing, right? People are having a harsh life because they're living in poverty, right? They're not well to do. So things like this you need to know. Okay, this is one type. And the second type will be whatever the source says, you pick out what is the challenge from these sources. So for economic, it will be things like joblessness, because people don't have jobs during that time due to the challenges, right? Security, you will see things like terrorist threats. Yes, McDonald's house bombing, right? Confrontasi, right? Withdrawal of British troops, which led to the lack of jobs and all these things. So how do people feel, or what is the challenge here? Okay, all these things will lead to the challenge is a security challenge. How about this? Joblessness, right? Lack of trade and industry. All these things will lead to, this is an economic challenge. How about sense of belonging? When you see things like people don't regard Singapore as home, these are called sense of belonging things. So you must be careful and you must look through which one is it. Okay, the challenges and the solution as well, and then pick it out properly. Okay, so that's for this chapter. I need to go through specifically what is the things. Okay, there are only some major events here. Okay, now just go through very quickly the major events. Okay, for security, major event is confrontasi. We don't have security because we are being under threat from Indonesia in terms of the confrontasi. Okay, the McDonald's house bombing, right? Security also because lack of defense. We don't have a defense force, right? Because of British withdrawal. The British withdrew their army, so we don't have a defense force, right? So what's the solution? Let Mr. Go first, NS, to help build our armed forces up. Second thing, defense industry to help build our weapons. Okay, then defense cooperation so that we have allies. Okay, and then we need friends also, right? So we need to build diplomacy. So he joined the UN and joined ASEAN. Okay, so that's for security in a nutshell. Belonging. Okay, people, what's the problem? Because there's a lot of Malaysians. Okay, people need to choose to go back. A lot of them choose to go back to Malaysia. So we lost a lot of people. So we need to build an identity. How do we build an identity? And build unity. How do we do this? Okay, pledge, anthem, symbols. Okay, give people housing as well. Okay, then economy. Why is it that we have a failing economy? Because trade with Malaysia affected. Why? Because of separation. Yes, same thing. Trade with Indonesia affected because of the confrontasi. Yes. Then withdrawal again of British troops. So we lost 26,000 jobs. So how do we deal with this? We built a Jurong industrial estate. Right, we invite the MNCs to come, the corporations, the big companies to come and build factories. Okay, we do manufacturing jobs. Okay, and how do we attract the businesses to come? We need to improve a few things. First, we need to work on tourism, the zoos, everything, the zoos, the bird park. We need to build our finance sector. We need to build our banks. Right? We need to build our transportation network so people will want to come. So here's when your MRT is here and your airport as well. And finally, okay, this is also part of infrastructure. Infrastructure, so transport as well as the telecommunications. This means your Singtel, and so on and so forth. So we need to build up all these things, and that's how we improve our economy. Okay, so this is the aspect of what we lack and what we did to solve all these problems. Okay, so I think I'll end here. How about I end here first? You all go and watch the thing again, skip to whichever part you're not clear of, and later we have another session. You just ask me all the questions that you have, and I will slowly explain everything. Okay, so we'll stop here first.